So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome.
Hello, also from my side. Great to see so many people coming.
Thanks very much, everybody, for being here. It's our second time we are presenting this now, this time in English, before in German. So normally the second time is one thinks one can do it all better. So I'm expecting a few gremlins to come up, but let's see. And a special welcome also to our friends from the PMI. These events are always done in conjunction with the Project Management Institute Germany chapter. But very welcome for anybody who is from the PMI here. We are going to definitely also look a bit at project management towards the end, but I have to start with a disclaimer. A lot of you will not be able to implement what we do today, at least not now. We know you are part of a corporate culture. Some of you, AI is not yet allowed or is only allowed partially. Today, we deliberately push the boundaries. So it is definitely something that most of you will either not have seen, not have done, or will not be able to allow it. But I have to also put a proviso in. We are still staying within boundaries. For example, Businessmap's native AI is using Azure GPT-5 with an enterprise contract. So if you've got Businessmap and you use AI within, it stays within that context boundary. So that is very important. And also all extensions I'm using are paid for accounts. So those are non-training. My data is not used for training. And as you will see, I will I'm even then ring fencing a lot. And I'm using my own infrastructure. One of my agents runs on OpenClaw, which runs on a Linux server here on my side. So it's very much still a contained system. The golden thread today is going to be AI, but I'm going to start a bit with native Businessmap automation. I'm not going to say much about it, but I'm going to just say that it is there, or I'm not going to show you much about it, but I will dive into the native AI within Businessmap, and then we are going to move outside. And then towards the end, Mark is going to show you a bit how we are extending Businessmap even further with a planning add-on that is specifically for our project and especially portfolio managers also who would be quite interested in something like that. For my part, I'm going to actually use a support workflow. Why a support workflow? Most of you will use a support workflow. Probably everybody has used a support workflow, at least when you log a ticket somewhere, but it's also any customer support. Your customers coming in wanting some sales support, whatsoever. It is you get a new request, you somehow prioritize it, you work on it, and it's resolved. As easy as that, and it's quite universal. In general, we are using Businessmap. We are automating for any support desk. We need about 5 business rules. I won't go much into it, but one of them is, for example, whenever somebody sends in a request, you're expecting an email back that says, this is your ticket number. That's definitely something you would need to do. If you are talking to and fro by email, you want that to be logged in the ticket. You also want to have a notification on resolution, and so on and so on. I won't go into any details how that works. I just want to say we want to start with automation always. If you're talking AI, why automation before AI? AI is probabilistic. So it says it's a 90% chance that it is correct. The big problem with that is it in itself is great, 95%. But if you add 5 AI steps on one on the other, you get 0.9 to the power of 5, which is 59%, and that's not much better than a coin toss. So that's where it comes in, and that's why we say deterministic before probabilistic. And we say without clear rules and boundaries, AI only produces faster garbage. The next is in Businessmap, we've also got a lot of governance. We've got policies, we've got rules, we've got limits, we've got expectations. You need these as well for your AI agents, and even more so for your AI agents. But I think enough of slides. I will actually switch over to my live business map, and let me just get this shared and switched on. And I'll switch myself off here because then you've got a bit better and bigger screen real estate. So you now have the full screen of me. So this is our support workflow, and this is actually our live support desk. If you would send something to support@zuviate.com, it will come out here. Obviously, I've hidden a few things, and it normally is not as full as that. You will see quite a few demo tickets in here. But what you can still see is you've got the new, you've got the prioritized, you've got an orange area, which is your working on area, and you've got a green area, which is completed. Those are, as in any service desk, the steps. Also, as I said, we need policies. For example, for every column, we need to say what is happening. And as I said, AI is reading these columns as well if you want to work with it. So you will see halfway through that there's an agent behavior in Businessmap, which I have defined here because they are behaving in a certain way. There is those rules that are set, those business rules, and I can just show you we are actually running 9 business rules, not 5, but we are also escalating to Businessmap. That is, a lot of that is automated. Anything you can see here is an automation. But we're not here for automation. I just wanted to make very clear that our rule sets are the basis for everything. We need to have these clear rules. We need to have everything there. And if I'm looking at Businessmap, and let me just take a ticket, and I've prepared a few tickets. We're looking at ticket. This is an absolute made-up ticket, but it is quite a mouthful. How do I go about looking at this? And this is where Businessmap's AI, internal AI, I can, for example, say to the agent, "Hi Flo, can you tell me, or can you tell me a bit about this ticket and what the client actually wants?" And as you can see, I'm these days not typing anymore. I'm actually talking, and it will give me a bit shorter description than this, and it actually tells me, and as you can see, it says there are currently no comments and no subtasks and so on. So it's very limited. It's limited value that I'm asking the AI. Once this ticket is actually totally populated, you can really start asking about that ticket. So that is one thing. And in Businessmap, virtually everywhere, even on some of the metrics and so on, you've got this button, Ask AI, and it will tell you about what you're seeing and also the entire context to it. The second thing is wherever you can write something, you've got an AI button. So if I would say, and obviously I wouldn't do that with a support request, but if I say for this one, I say, please expand a bit on this one, and I'm doing that, then the AI will give me a bit more about WIP limits. I could insert that, I could replace it. Obviously, watch out, you're also getting a wall of text. That is not what you want in there. So obviously you can also say, summarize me something. You can do that as well. So it is wherever there's a text, you can do that. But that's relatively limited. I will go one level more, and I won't go through all the AI. I mean, AI is relatively native within Businessmap, but I will go to one other area, which is AI prompting. This is more ChatGPT on steroids for AI and for Businessmap, because what I can do here is, for example, if I want to write comments and emails, I can say I'm a support desk, so I want to have a professional customer response generator. So I tell them what we are. I tell them a lot. I say, what's the tone of communication, and so on. We work both in German and English, detect the language from the most recent comment, and so on. So it really goes through. It would answer in German or English automatically, and I give it a few rules. I also say these are topics that I could, and you'll just now see that I could select and can say these are typical topics that I'm talking about, and I can just now delete them out or keep them in. And then I've got the columns, or yeah, the fields that I need. It's the title, it's the description, it's the comments, the reporter is the person who reported, things like that, those fields and the description of those fields. So it's just a prompt on steroids. However, it frames things quite nicely. The nice thing that you've got with that, I've got that. I can generate subtasks in the same way. I can give it, again, a detail here. And I can even say if I've got certain reports, for example, I've got a tone of voice generator where I want to see exactly, I'm the support desk manager, and I want to analyze the communications, things like that. I can really do that. And I can even go to a point where I can say, okay, I've got a specific report format, which is in a specific HTML format, and I can use that. I can obviously use AI to help me build that. But if I've got a specific format in my company, I can add that in here, and it will always generate it in that format. So this is where this is really powerful. And let's quickly do this here and say, okay, I am first of all wanting to write back to the client, and I'm saying I've got a response generator, and as you can see, there's all these things, and I just want to say we are actively working on this, and I generate this. I obviously could say more of that, but what this thing is now doing, it is looking at who that was. It says Stefan, and we are always taking the first name. That is a definition. And it says, thank you for your detailed description, and so on. We are actively working on a structured root cause. And it says, kind regards, the Zuiat team, which I gave it. I can add that comment, and it's on here. The same thing, as you can see, this is quite a difficult task. It's quite big. So if I would want to break it down in subtasks, I could generate. Again, you saw I've got a generator. I can use that. I've got specific steps that I wanted to, that I'm normally using. But what it now does, it reads this document, understands it, and builds me a subtask. I can obviously edit here. I can say, okay, I don't want this in there, but I want everything in there. Now I've got the subtasks here. So it's quite powerful if we are looking at this. And if I'm looking at reports, for example, I'm saying, okay, I want a status report, or I want the tone of voice. Let me do the tone of voice still as a last one for this, and say, okay, I've got a tone of voice here. I want to see how are we normally looking at that. Sorry, I don't want to click there. I want to click there. It's talking and doing things is always the one problem. But if I'm looking at the tone of voice, it is written in a way that it is really asking, how are we generating, how are we working with clients? And it says, what is the overall common satisfied? There is a bit of confusion, and it specifically highlights our ticket, so I can really look at it. So there's some rare frustration, there's some outliers, and so on and so on. So we can really look at that. There's recommendations, there's highlights. Depending on how we write it, we can have very much repeatable work that we can do. Obviously, what I would do, I'm now finished here. I want to move this ticket to prioritized. I've done that. It will tell me I can't do that because I've got this owner and type I need to set. So what I need to do here is I need to say this is actually a customer support incident, and I want to say that I'm working on this. I update it. I can't move it out of that. And again, that is the rule sets of that. But I think that's enough of Businessmap in itself. So let me stop sharing and let me go back and introduce you to my AI. And whilst I'm talking, by all means, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We will, in the end, have a few minutes for the chat. Let me just get my presentation up again. We will have a bit of time for Q&A. There we go. It's coming up, and now I just need to decide. It just needs to decide that it goes to the right slide. There we go. And that should be it. You can see my slide with Bee and Flo. So these are Bee and Flo. they are my two agents. Flo is my desktop collaborator. She is, and I say she by design. As an anecdote, I gave them both the pronoun it. They decided, both of them, to call each other she, and so she it is. So Flo is my desktop collaborator. I'm working with her on Claude Code, so I'm typing, I'm in control, and because of that, she's got quite a lot of rights because I'm always in control. Bee is my worker bee. She lives on an OpenClaw server 24/7 on. She's got very limited rights. And that is also very important. I'm in every program, I'm giving, if at all possible, both of them own agent accounts so that I can control 100% what they do. But I have to warn you, and I'm saying that, don't yet try this at home. Why am I saying that? At this moment, it is quite an intricate system. I've in the last let's say 2-3 weeks that I've worked, I've run numerous 16 and 18 hour days. So really that I have spent a lot of time with it. It is loads of time, and it is a bit with two agents at this moment, it's a bit like, I don't have kids, but people say if you've got one kid, it's X amount of time. If you've got two kids, it's X to the power of 2. So it's 4 times the amount, and this is the same thing because they are talking to each other. They are quicker than me. And why am I saying yet? I think it's only a matter of months until each of us will have certain agents that do specialized things for us, and not only one. So I'm just saying, don't yet try it at home. It is amazing amounts of time. As I said, I am controlling them quite a lot. This is only our 5-layer data architecture. In total, it's 7 layers with the communication layer. It starts at the local memory that each of them has encrypted where both of them cannot get to each other, and also on, for those that are more technical, on a Git, on a private one and a shared one, so that we've got a shared playbook. Then we're working in the Microsoft ecosystem where everybody still has a sandboxed OneDrive for backup and a SharePoint side. And in general, we are working in a zero trust security boundary. So whatever we do is the minimum rights we are giving that. Just to make sure. For Microsoft 365, you obviously then need an administrator. Luckily, we're a small company, so I'm an administrator. Again, I've got a special administrator account. Even my own user doesn't have an administrative rights. So that is where we come in. But it is quite complex. And the 7th layer at the top is the communication, which is with Bee, for example, I'm speaking with Telegram. And she is monitoring an own Gmail account, which if we do in Businessmap, we do add mentions and so on. They go through there. She gets that. She can out of band every 15 minutes. She checks that. And 15 minutes later, something happens if I do anything in Businessmap and mention her. Flo obviously is on my desktop. She has got rights to read my email, my Outlook email. No writing, but reading. Because I control her, but I could call her out of band via N8N and things like Zapier, Make, and so on. I don't want to go into the details. The one thing is we are using Businessmap as a core. And also one thing that is, watch out if you're doing with these. This is one of my absolute favorite AI jokes, and it is like that. An anecdote from me, Bee and Flo in the last 3 weeks generated, I think we are now at document 399 in the Businessmap doc store. We've only generated 6 documents since the last webinar nearly a week ago, but in the first week it was mayhem because I hadn't controlled stuff correctly. I hadn't defined stuff correctly, so it became quite overbearing. More than 300, by the way, are already deleted. I think we've got 80 documents left that are actually genuinely alive. But just watch out there. A lot of the documents I've never read because they are very good at walls of text as I showed you early on with the whip limit, I can easily make out of one bullet point an entire document. Watch out with that. Also, we need to have a clear rule definition. I've iterated that a few times. I, for example, have for both Bee and Flo, before I even started implementing them, I spent 2 days just defining each one of them for the directives. I won't go into the details of this slide. Read my blogs on LinkedIn. I've gone quite a lot into the DOE model and into what we are doing here. I think it's again time for a demo. So let me take this one off. Let me go out here. Let me get this one back. And get it on screen and get myself off screen. So now you've got the full one. This is the new docs feature in Businessmap. We are using this as our main repository. You can see there's, for example, our data architecture. It's defined. I won't go into it. It is our repository for documentation. We work on it together. Also, as I said, each of those agents has got specific rights. They are in an own user. Flo is an advanced user. She's got more rights. Bee is just a very limited user, just because of her being on 24/7. Good. I think that's enough of that. We are back at our service desk. And now let's see what happens if we take the next level. And now I'm first of all going to introduce you to Flo. Flo is my, as I said, Claude Code. This is Claude Code on Claude Desktop. So it's a command line interface, sort of in a wrapper. I don't want to go into the details. As you can see, this is a session that is specifically for our demo. I've said hi to Flo already. And now, as I said, I'm talking to my computer. It sometimes will transcribe wrongly. You'll see that it is a bit weird, but that's good enough for an AI. Flo, can you please look at ticket number 40914 and do me a first triage and then prioritize the ticket and put it into the prioritized column. So what I've done is I've connected Flo to the Businessmap, and we're using MCP, we're using API for those people that do it. It uses whatever it uses in the background, whatever is needed. I don't know. You can see it's working, it's doing things. So she's doing that. She's giving me a quick triage here and saying what's happening. But what you will also see that on this side, there's already a priority that has been assigned. And this is just a summary. And now she finds I haven't given her anything. So she says, like, there's a departure rule on the new column. I can't move this. So what's it? I'm now the owner. So let's move it. She'll find just now, okay, it's still blocked. Card has no type yet. That's likely the missing. She does that. She moves it. So you can see she's sorting that out. It's obviously a lot quicker than I would do that. So there we are. She's triaged that. Flo, can you please put that triage on a comment on the ticket and also give me a reply that I can give to the client? And she's obviously a bit quicker than I am. She's thinking a bit. She's looking at this. And I mean, I am live at this moment. I haven't given her this ticket before. And as I say, I haven't given her the rules. She obviously knows our system, but not as well that I would do that. So here's things like that. And if we are looking now, we've got a comment on here, which gives us a summary. I don't know where she's now decided to give me everything in the system. Flo, can you please also put the client's reply, everything into the ticket, not in here. I cannot really see here. I know I told you this is a demo, but probably that's why you're putting it out there. Use it as per usual, everything into the ticket. Oops, this one didn't want to go where it should have gone. We just quickly get this. Now it's decided it wants to take me in. There we go. Demo time. There we go. This is what I said to her just now. Now she's obviously looking a bit at this. There's apologize. Let me put the on the card. And here's my second comment. Here's my draft reply. It says, thank you for the detailed description. This is what you do. Things like that. I obviously would have looked at it, need to look at it still, and I will send it. Also, the rules are for my agents. You would have seen it if you read the rules. No agent is allowed to speak to clients in our side. They are only allowed to talk to me and to us. But that is where we are at this moment. Obviously, I am connected with different things. So I'm seeing Thomas. So what I'm saying, Flo, please have a look at my Outlook and see, did we already talk to Thomas before? And when did we do that? Can you give me a bit of a background? So she does some research for me and again, doesn't want to put it in here. So there we go. And she's looking this up. Obviously, this is a made-up contact. I've emailed myself to and fro. So she will have a look at that. And she will look at you can see she's looking at Outlook, and is searching that, and is just now going to tell me more about Outlook. Now you see, Thomas, we met at the PMI Germany Summit in Hamburg. Victoria from Businessmap followed up, and so on 12th March, I did last talk to him. In short, this is what it is. So it's quite nice to be able to connect all your systems and look at that. Good. That is Flo. Now looking at it a bit more in detail, I want to introduce you to Bee. And Bee should actually, you would have seen I put this comment in here, and we are demo time. We should actually have taken this ticket. I'm running it in a minute, normally every 15 minutes, but it should have been every minute that she's looking at this. Obviously, she's not decided to. Bee, can you please look at ticket 40934? That is new in the in support, and run your normal support cron on this. She's actually found that before I sent it. So you see, I haven't even sent this. It was just that the trigger was I wanted to wait for you. This is an automated trigger, and that is actually running in theory, or not in theory, in practice, every 15 minutes on our ticket. So whenever you send us a ticket, you will get that exact same feedback. Here's what the client sent. In this case, Flo created, but here's what the client sent, Julia Engström from PMO lead whatsoever. And what Bee does a triage, looks at the Businessmap knowledge base, gives me the knowledge base articles, and writes me an email with an exact one. Also has found that Julia looks a bit German and has given me that in German as well, just for help sake and so on. So really looked at that. Maybe knows that we have spoken to Julia before. So this is just a quick summary of what things can do and a very, very quick intro to these agents. We obviously, what we also do is we work with these agents not only here, but also in projects. If I'm running down here, for example, Bee has a daily card. You will see that she is summarizing stuff for me. We are working with each other. Bee and Flo are looking at things and giving each other subtasks. Plus, for example, if I'm looking at here, I'm busy building a workflow, the webinar attendance workflow on N8N. I'm not going to build that myself. Again, N8N is something like Zapier, something like Make that is really running and deterministic workflow. And what you can see here, it touches Microsoft Teams, N8N, ActiveCampaign, Outlook, Azure, Businessmap, HubSpot, whatsoever we need. It's touching them. It is automatically doing that. And we have been working with that over a while. I won't obviously show you the details, but this is a live system that we are running. This is my live system. And as you can see, it is assigned to different people. Different people do work. And people, I'm saying also my agents. And if we're looking at that workflow automation, that starts from when I build a new webinar until you get your email tomorrow. Obviously, there's manual steps in between for me building that email, but this is how that workflow automation looks. It's about 63 steps. I haven't opened even one of those nodes. It's all written by Flo and Bee and Flo, actually, and this is where we are at this moment. I think mouthful. We are, and this was a tour de force that I gave you. I think it's time for us to switch back, and it's time for me to stop sharing. And Mark, all yours. You are still muted, Mark.
Thank you. The microphone again. Thanks, Matthias.
Okay.
That was a real tour de force. And it's actually very exciting to see what one can do. And this entire notion of having additional employees, which are fully in your control, but are not people. It's a fabulous concept. Very, very interesting. So what I want to do now is something a little bit different. So Matthias has focused mostly on what he can do, so how he can become more productive using these agents and using tools and also linking them into Businessmap. But sometimes there's something more that you want to do. You actually want to package some features so that not just you that you can use it, but many other people. And this is something that I'm very interested in. So I'm continuously tinkering with Businessmap and trying to ask myself, okay, what are our customers asking? What is currently not in Businessmap? How can I extend it to deliver something useful? So this is what I want to show you today. My journey with Businessmap and developing on top of Businessmap has started many years ago, something like 3 years ago, when we started developing simulations on it. And I still remember the first days when I started typing and I had a few words and suddenly the rest of the paragraphs, the rest of the procedure actually came up and I just could press tab and it was correct. That was a complete wow moment. But then again, from that time, so many things have changed. And I'm going to show you some of the things that have changed and how absolutely amazing they are. So what is it that I developed on top of it? Let me first show you the problem. So you all know Businessmap. Businessmap is incredibly good at tracking execution, at visualizing our entire workflow. But we continuously hear from customers that they would like to do a little bit more planning work inside of Businessmap. And you know, there are quite a couple of features these days. There's a planning view. You can even go on a particular project and you can look at the forecast tab, which then brings up some form of Gantt view. But for anybody who's really worked with that, you know how fickle this is, how easy it is for things to go wrong, how you can't actually sort this in the way that you want, how when you move a task here, then the plan start and end dates change, etc. So quite a lot of things that make it sometimes difficult for project managers to plan their projects. So what I've done is I have used the API to develop something on top of it. And for those of you that do not know what the API is, let me just quickly open this link here from the API view. So I'm going to open the Businessmap API, some very good documentation.
You are not sharing yet, Mark, if you wanted to share.
Thank you, Matthias. In fact, I have actually wanted to share the entire time. Okay, so I was just now showing this Flow Simulator version 2, where I had this Gantt chart view in here. And I spoke about how difficult it is to actually work with it, which is why project managers often want a Gantt chart view that is useful, something like Microsoft Project has. So the Businessmap API is available to everybody. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to get some information out of it. If I go to the API and I just copy my API key, and on this one, I just go to the cards endpoint. This is the endpoint which it helps us get a list of cards. I'm going to put my API key in here. And I am going to look at the board ID, and I do believe my board is board 3. So I'm going to enter board 3 here, and then I'm going to run it. So when I send this API request, you'll see here are lots of cards coming up. This is actually JSON data, so the business map data, but just in a usable format that you can do stuff with. Okay, so this is what the API gives us, and it has hooks into almost everything that Businessmap offers you. So based on this, I've now developed this add-on, and for this, I'm just going to get the ID of the card so that I can reference it, go into the add-on, and say load a project. Okay, so when I put this in and I load the project, I now see the same project that I have in Businessmap with a top level card and all the child cards, but in a very functional Gantt chart view. So if I move these cards around, I can actually shift all of the details in Businessmap. And when I say save and reload at the top, it does make the changes directly in Businessmap, which is one of the major concerns. So what did I have to do in order to produce that? Well, if I go into the coding part, so here's a cursor. Cursor is a tool that I like using. It's similar to Claude Code that Matthias just now showed. And here's an entire development project. And in this development project, I have my capabilities. And I can open any of these now to show you a lot of programming. Now, I don't know how many lines there are at the moment, probably 20, 30, 40,000. I haven't counted them. But I can tell you one thing, and that is that I really have no idea what this code does in most instances. I really look at it because this is not how I work with it. I let the AI actually develop the code, and then I use it. Okay, so what else can this do? Let me go back to the main screen and then do something which is actually impossible in a business map context, and that is to go into a particular portfolio. So what is a portfolio? Portfolio is a number of cards from Businessmap that are loaded, and these cards can be anywhere. So it might be in a particular team board, it might be in some sort of coordination board or wherever. So the portfolio spans many different boards, and in Businessmap, it's very difficult to actually see all of these cards in one view. And I'll just show you here are now all the different projects that I have. I can just change the view also. And I could do that for 10, for 20, for 30 projects, and I can see the exact timelines across all of the projects wherever they are on Businessmap. Now, of course, there's a lot more that I can do. I could edit the cards. I can put in some details, change the titles, change the start date, end date, move projects around, etc. All of these things I can do in the add-on. And I've literally spoken to the AI and say, this is what I want. Use the Businessmap API. These are some functions. Go out and do. Pretty cool. But seeing is believing. So let us go back to this portfolio view, and I'll show you a real-life challenge. So here are the portfolios. The strategic projects portfolio currently has these 3 projects in. And since we started using it, many of our clients started coming back and saying, but this is not really easy to add items into this portfolio view. First of all, I can't change the name. So once I've given the name to the portfolio, I can never change it. And also when I want to select the cards from Businessmap, I have to find them first. So yeah, I go to a particular board and a particular workflow. And if I'm unlucky, I have lots of cards in that particular workflow. And currently the system doesn't allow me to specify more categorization options. So I want to change that. And I'm going to show you how that would be done using Cursor. So in here, I'll just close everything. We don't get confused. Go to my chat window. And then I am going to, in normal course, when I have such a request, I'm going to think about it. What is it that I want? Where do I want to see stuff? How should it work, etc. And then I write a prompt. That's not a good prompt. Well, you can't really read that prompt. Hold on, let me just, how do I show you the prompt in such a way that you can actually see the detail? Okay, I'm not going to, difficult for me to show you this now directly, so I'm going to show you the prompt here. So this is the prompt that I've written for Cursor. And let us just quickly read through it. Perhaps I can just change. I want you to help me with a few changes to the portfolio editor. One of them is, once the portfolio has been created, I can only delete it, but cannot change its name. So I want that capability. And then some more information as to how I want to be able to filter on the individual items. And I provide all of these instructions. So I'm going to copy that again, and I'm going to Cursor. I'm going to again do the paste. So it just looks like an image. It isn't actually an image. The agent will understand. I'm going to let the agent run. And now we're going to see something magic, which is that the AI starts working with the information, with all the other files that I already have in my project, trying to understand how the project works, what it is that I as a user want, and it does it all on its own. So you can see here some of the details. Greping means searching. It's searching for particular strings, and it's just trying to build the context. So I don't have to give this context. It's actually building the context of what needs to be done and how it needs to be done completely by its own. Now, I'm not going to wait all the time that this is going to take now to actually implement this feature. I'm just going to jump back again into the Flow simulator. I'm going to show you two more features that I actually love. So for one of the things that Businessmap doesn't really allow us to do easily is to do capacity planning. And here I have a very simple scenario, 2 projects. I'm going to expand all. I'm going to do the view so that I can actually see more together. So 2 projects, and these projects, they use the same resources. So when I open one of them, you're going to see that there's a capacity assignment from the design team. I need so many hours, and there's a particular distribution. And I can switch on the capacity view, which now brings these 2 projects together and shows me here at the bottom how the current usage is. So there's always a line. So for example, here we see there's 24 hours capacity, and this 48 hours means we are way over our allocation. Because of this, I can now go and say, well, let us do some planning. Let us shift the projects around. And as I do that, I can actually find a position where there's not so much overload. Now, again, this is not possible to be done in Businessmap, but fairly simple to start implementing once you use Businessmap as a base data source and you just bolt on top what it is that you require. This used to be incredibly difficult to do. But now with the new coding tools and the AI agents, this has become actually trivial. And everybody can just develop what they need when they need it. Okay, so that is one of the add-ons and capabilities that we have. I want to show you something else. So very often project managers, they use Microsoft Project, even though they can do everything in our tool, but they still use it for some other reason. And now you have to get it into Businessmap because that is where execution happens. Now, of course, Businessmap has a very good import capability, so not a problem. But wouldn't it be easier if you could actually just open a Microsoft Project file and import it directly? So there's another capability that I added. Import as a portfolio. And here I see the entire project portfolio. I can add links. I can shift them around the cards. I can shift entire projects around. And when I now go and save and reload, all of those cards, they get saved to Businessmap, and the people who are actually working on the individual items can mark them off, tick them off, and as soon as they tick them off, we start seeing them here again. Okay, let us have a look at what our agent is doing. It's still busy. So we are now at 3 minutes and it's still happily coding, but fortunately it's now at the point, so you see at the top, it generated a little bit of a plan for itself, what needs to be done, and now it's starting to edit. So here are some files, it just added this code. And here's another file, it added that code and that code. Here are 56 lines that it just added. Now, a couple of months ago, I did have to read through all of that. Matthias spoke about this probabilistic engine problem. Nowadays, actually, I do not have to do that. It is so good to get it correct the first time around. And obviously, you know what to ask for and how you need to ask it, etc., in order to get good results. But yeah, it's now continuing writing. And while it's continuing, I can actually hand over to Matthias again to see whether there are any questions in the meantime. While it's still coding and doing the work, well, I can actually talk to you.
Okay. Yes. At this moment, there's no questions yet. So I'll use this for a quick commercial break, and just give you a quick rundown of the next steps. If this is interesting to you, obviously, talk to us is the first important thing. We are available. We are working with Businessmap. We are working with Businessmap partners. We are working with clients. We are one of the few platinum partners of Businessmap. So let me just make sure that we get the system again where it should be. Not here. There we go. This is what you should be seeing. So what's the next steps? There's two things that I can see coming out of this that we are looking there. And I saw there are a few of our Businessmap mastermind people that are here. So what we are doing since over 10 years, we have got peer groups where we get together. As you can see, I mean, we are grappling with things. We are looking at this. How does this actually apply to us these days? And that is AI, that is Businessmap, that's processing, that's project management. But really the implementation of it, how do we bring that into Businessmap? How do we do that? How do we run with that? And there we are actually getting together every 2 weeks for 2 hours. And I would welcome anybody who does work in Businessmap or even has just started with Businessmap and wants to get going on the right foot from the beginning. Contact us with this. Also, there is a link. I'll also send you that link still, so you don't need to write it down. I'll send it to you by email, but we can also put it into the chat just now. And the second thing is those of you who don't have Businessmap yet. I know there were a few people who asked me and said, I want to know what Businessmap is, what can it do, and so on. If you looked at it this now and said, this is actually something I want to try, there is a link for you here. You get a 30-day trial. The normal trial is only 15 days. And also, if you sign up there, you get 2 hours of setup, consultation, and ongoing support throughout those 30 days. And if you are a seriously investigating, we can definitely also extend. We know that corporates in 30 days, you don't get much done. We can easily extend that to up to 90 days if needed. So there's absolutely speak to us if you are interested in something like that. And then one last thing, we just scheduled our next webinar where Mark said this time we looked a lot at what can I do. The next thing we are going to look at the company in April, towards the end of April, on the 23rd in German, on the 29th in English. I'll also send you the link. If you're very quick, you can also even take a QR code scan now and you've got the link. But this is where we are going to tell you a bit more about the next level and are going to share more exciting things as we go on. Good. I think enough of a commercial break, Mark? Is your agent already finished? I don't think we've got questions as yet. So everybody, if you've got any question, please ask. But as I said, also feel free to contact us.
Okay, so let me take myself off. And we see that 0 TypeScript errors, all changes are complete and passing TypeScript checks. What it is then, clicking the pencil icon next to the portfolio name puts it into inline edit mode. Very nice. Selection and column filters and by board filter, etc. And I can look at the review and we'll see that there are quite a lot of files that it has touched. So the green number is always the number of lines that are additional. The red is the number of lines that have been removed in order to create that functionality. And you could also see on the right-hand side quite a lot of files that it did touch in this particular edit now. So every file that is highlighted in yellow is a new file or edited file. So something changed in that file. And I can now go through, read through, etc. But the easiest is actually to just look at the functionality and find out whether it has done what I wanted it to do. So I'll go to the portfolio editor. So here's a name. There's a pencil icon, and I can, I don't want the test anymore. Okay, seems to have saved it. And I see here's a new tab icon by board filter, and also, as I requested, ability to just add the IDs of the cards. So the board filter now, we can see there are new categorizing options. So I can go to this as I wanted it. I can again select the workflow. And now I have an option to look at, there's nothing in progress. In requested, I've got 2. I can even go to the columns directly, etc., exactly as I wanted. But let's see this one. This one is actually very interesting. I asked it to give me the ability to just take the Businessmap IDs and load directly. So let's actually see whether that works. So I put in the 2 IDs from 2 cards, add 2 cards. Let's see what the code does. It added them directly into my portfolio. When I now say view portfolio, there should be 4 cards in there. As expected, there are now 4 cards in my portfolio. Awesome. So what have I done there? Just to quickly recap. I gave it some instructions. So I spent some good time thinking about that particular prompt. This I obviously did before this presentation. And then I just added it and let it go out and do the work. It took some I think 6 minutes, 7 minutes for the entire programming to happen. And it has worked first time. And this is how I'm developing. Now, just as a sneak peek, since we don't have any
We do have one question, Mark, and that is just quickly, is this only compatible with Businessmap?
Yeah, okay. When you're referring to what I'm doing, Francesco, then the project management capability, that's a capability that we build directly on top of Businessmap. Nothing does prevent us from actually adding that to any other tool which has data in that sort of way. And it can easily be extended, yes. Okay. So while we're waiting for other questions, so don't be shy, I'm just going to show you something else. Because I have, I think it's on this other view, because I have gained so much confidence in what this can do, that I've recently started a project to take over our Kanban simulation, which we built on Businessmap. But my specific brief was actually, first of all, to change from one program language to another one, and to give us the capability to play around with different options. Now, this board of our simulation, the visualization of this board, this was built in literally a few hours. So it went almost from the time that I actually put in the context and said, okay, this is what I want, to the time that I had the first board was less than half an hour, and then I had to fine tune to get to that point where I have this board set up. But it goes further than that. It allows me to compare different settings, different scenarios of the simulation, compare them with each other, look at the details, enlarge them, look at the financial results of various different simulations, set new scenarios, run those scenarios. I mean, everything that you see here, I have done in the last month. In fact, I originally thought it's going to take me 6 weeks. I'm going to finish this project tomorrow, and it's taken me 4 weeks to complete, and it was major. So before the AI age, it would have taken me between 6 and 12 months because I just don't have that much time. Now I can actually build something new and just follow whatever my intuition tells me and experiment with. And this is also what I encourage everybody else to do. So once you have your data in a tool like Businessmap, so many options actually open up, and it's just phenomenal. Okay,
I think
I'm going to stop the sharing here.
Yeah, I think I want to reiterate that as well. And that's why I said when I did this diagram Businessmap as the mission control, it works for me as well. Just bring everything in there. And then also the what I call the human AI interaction. So the human to human to AI, and AI to AI interaction, and obviously all in a matrix can very easily be done. Those of you who know flight levels, we are also bringing that in next time, and we are going to. There is also a flight levels day, just a bit more. I'm also going to present there on the 7th of May, so feel free to have a look. I think we've got 3 minutes left, but we don't have any questions at this moment. Either we've been so boring that nobody asked, or we've totally overwhelmed you with this tour de force that we did. I hope it's the latter.
Probably the second one, Matthias. I think being shell-shocked is probably the better description. And
yes,
if that is the case, and for everybody where this is the case, my advice is actually to start playing around. There are so many use cases that you're just going to discover when you start using these tools. So instead of just saying, well, where can I use it and what do I need to do? So trying to build a business case before you actually start working with them, forget about all of that and say, okay, well, let me just start and do something. Can I query Businessmap and get some data out? When I can do that, can I format it in a particular way? And I can guarantee you, one idea gives rise to the next one, and before you know it, you will have done major things.
Awesome. Yeah, here's Francisco. He says he's using Redmine for 15 years, and we've got somebody who says, I will need time to come up with good questions. Yes, definitely. But AI is going to give you that time because it is going to make you do less, but not at the beginning. As I said, I'm at the moment spending 16 to 18-hour days, many of my days, because it's just so much. But as Mark also asked me for the last one, is that really only work? No, it's also play. I love it. I can see what this is going to do for us going forward, but there is a learning curve. And it is going to get a lot easier, but at this moment, I mean, Mark and I are working with ChatGPT since the week it came out. We are working several hours a day with it, and now many hours with it.
I just want to get back again to this Redmine comment, that there is a lot of data in the system. This is wonderful. If you have systems where there's a lot of data, the question is just how do I connect to those systems? And there are so many tools these days that make it possible to extract data. Matthias used a model context protocol to connect to Businessmap and extract data. I'm sure there is something or somebody has done something to extract data from Redmine. Redmine meaning it's in your context and you can start working with it. Just beware, however, not everybody likes data going out to public LLMs. So make sure that you have an enterprise account where the data is protected.
Yeah, that is important. That's what I said at the beginning. Don't use free accounts, and make sure when you build this that you are very sure what you're doing. That's also at the moment one of the problems. You need to still understand where your data is going. Great. Thanks very much, everybody. We've got past. I see a lot of people are definitely shell-shocked, are definitely thinking about this. If anybody wants to contact us for anything, Even if it was just interesting and you've got a question and you didn't get something, I am here. Just a warning, I am going to go on leave on Thursday till Easter. Mark is here, but feel free to send me a mail so long. I'll be your main contact, but if you want to talk to Mark about programming and so on, please contact him as well. And by all means, make a meeting for after Easter, and we'll catch up, or maybe even we can fit it in now. There's a few hours tomorrow still. And yes,
and
I
we
will
of course
share the recording and the links.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening for those of you here in our time zone. And we hopefully will see each other again soon. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye then.